Don't have to push the button. This is great. So, what you can see up on the screen, as most of you know, I joined this committee back in, I don't know, August or September or something. And this idea had kind of been stewing in the back of my mind for a little bit. And ultimately, what you're looking at up there is kind of the culmination of the last like 7 or 8 months worth of working on this thing. Basically, I'm kind of looking for feedback from other committee members and the public on what would be most useful for us maybe moving forward, or what kind of things you would expect a tool like this to provide. So I kind of built this almost as like a transparency portal for residents in the community, and a way to kind of standardize how we collect data pertaining to comprehensive plans. Ultimately, this plan, runs for at least 10 years, could potentially last longer than that, who knows? And I kind of just wanted to develop a way to streamline how we manage the work that goes into this plan, because that's a really long time frame to have to juggle. And I think we also owe it to the public to be able to show progress, or at least demonstrate that we are making progress on stuff. Yeah. So I kind of just want to talk through what we've got here.
Tim, on a really high level,
Yes.
I think you described what your goal is here.
Yeah.
And what your goal of the tool is. Can you say what the tool is? Like the 1 to 2, like the elevator speech of this tool is.
So this tool is a municipal strategy tracking. That good? A municipal intelligence layer.
Is it usable by you or usable by anybody who wants to use it?
So the way it's built right now, essentially, it would be catered towards the town. So municipal people, staff, employees, as well as us being committee members, we'd all fall under the town's organizational structure. So we'd all belong on the town's comprehensive plan. So if you look, we actually have the way board rosters are set up in here. We get to configure kind of who belongs where, right? Who's part of which committee and which board. So the only one I've actually filled out right now was the board roster for the town council, but ultimately we would all be invited and be members of the what are we? The Comprehensive Plan Implementation Committee, right? So that's kind of how I structured this thing.
And we should note for anybody who's watching this, this isn't filled in, so the scores are not representative.
Correct. None of this is like accurate data. This is all dummy data right now. None of these grades and letters mean anything for anyone. It's all just random dates scattered across all the strategies.
We're in sandbox development.
Correct. None of this is live data. The actual strategy text and the relationships to the policies and the focus areas, that's all accurate. But obviously the metrics are all just dummy data based off of a bunch of faked completion dates and push dates. For what?
The total strategies is 48, not 319.
Oh, well, I mean, if that's actually for me, right? So this is my oversight. So Steve actually assigned all of us implementers that we have to manage. So that actually is accurate for my management responsibilities. You can see my implementers right there. So that's my personal view of how my implementers are doing, and maybe my touch points with them. So if I scroll down a little bit, these are all the strategies, that might be at risk and that I should definitely prioritize reaching out and talking about.
Can you take us to the landing page and walk us through what you as a, maybe walk us through what you as a committee member would see and how you'd use it, starting at the landing page and going back through to see the different strategies or implementers, which is kind of where you are now.
So when you say landing page, it depends on who you are.
So let's,
So-
yeah.
So basically, the idea is that implementers would be invited here and they'd all fall in under their town department or their organization, right? So somebody from Department of Public Works signs up, right? They get invited to this thing. They would be under the Department of Public Works inside of the app, which means they'd get all the visibility over anything that has any of the strategies that have Public Works as a implementer, they would see and be able to track and comment on and do stuff with and kind of monitor. But you'll get different views based off of what your role is within the town. Correct. Same rules for everyone.
And see, so we as committee members see all of it.
Yes.
So could you take us to that page where, I mean, what is this software that you developed that we're gonna have like a login and password to?
Yes. Yes.
And do we need a special program in order to be able to access it?
Just a web browser.
Oh,
I think high level, Tim has spent a lot of his own personal time contemplating. One of the big questions that we contemplated as a group in the beginning is, how do you monitor this volume of work that is decentralized and that is not always a priority, because this is a 10-year plan with short, medium, and long-term and ongoing goals, and knowing that staff and committee members and volunteers only have 100% capacity, so something will inherently fall off. I think Tim has shared with me that he spent a lot of time contemplating, one, how do we make the status of the comprehensive plan visible to all community members so they understand that things are moving forward and things that they care about, just because it's not being talked about today, haven't been either contemplated in the past or are being contemplated in the future. But also, how do we take all of this work, the 319 strategies in a 10-year plan, to make it manageable for the implementers in a way that it is, one, all in one place, two, not in a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet that was written by somebody like me, that can be broken. Links can get broken, and
70-page Word document that's just as unmanageable, right?
when one person updates one Word document or an Excel document, it doesn't, unless it's in a shared environment like SharePoint or OneDrive, it doesn't. Hey, Whitney, how are you? Thanks for joining. And so that the information is shared I mean, this is ideal because it's in real time, and it has different levels of users. So to me, this, I guess the question remains whether it's something we use, although I'm very excited about the potential.
And just so I'm not asking we make any motions or make
Yeah.
this a set in stone thing. I'm just merely presenting this. If anybody has feedback on it, I'd love to hear it. Any suggestions, always appreciated. But the reality is, I think a lot of municipalities, one, don't have standard approaches to comprehensive planning or any kind of efficient method of actually tracking it through the life cycle of that plan. So I think it kind of fills a lot of gaps at a lot of different levels.
I can't wait because I've done my homework and I have identified primary and secondary, and in very few cases, tertiary implementers for all the strategies. So that will streamline this and make it, can't wait to meet with you too.
And Whitney, just for clarification, so we are, Tim is presenting on agenda item 030, a tool that he's created that to me meets the needs of like a workflow tool and a dashboard tool. Like it's, Tim talked about it as a transparency tool. I think about it as a communication tool and a collaborative working tool. Tim, we don't need to approve what Tim does on his own time because he's allowed to do whatever he wants on his own time. But it may be worthwhile for Tim. We're just about at 10, 12 minutes now. Maybe it would be helpful for you to show us how an implementer might look at one strategy and connect it to the implementers, and then we could just give Tim some initial feedback of this looks great, I'd love to meet with you on your own, or this looks great, get it to a point where you'd like to do an hour presentation.
Let me give you one that we could mark as done.
Wait, can I,
It's on the local economy, yeah.
can I have Tim, can you walk us through and then we'll do one? And you
Oh.
can show us how to work it?
Oh, oh.
Yeah, what, what am I doing?
You could take us.
Sweet.
Colors.
We found a data guy over there in George.
Impressed, Tim. I gotta tell you, I'm very impressed.
How do you feel about dark mode, George?
Tim, if you could take us into just like where your land, like the page that you see when you log on as an implementer.
Yeah.
Is he an implementer?
Okay, so I mean, I can't actually sign in as an implementer right now, but what I can do is walk you through. Everybody would essentially land on the same place at first, right? And you can either select metrics or you can filter through all the strategies or whatever. But the key thing here is you have a My Work link and you have oversight.
Do you have
Or
do you have access to every single? Do you have most of these entered in here?
yes,
It's under local economy that we're going to look at tonight anyway, and it is
Oh, look at that.
8.5.
you said 8.5. There's got to be a better way for me to find numbers. I'll have to figure that part out. Really?
Give you would a word search help?
Yes.
Benches. Yeah.
There it is.
Boom. Boop. So every strategy kind of has like an overview page, right? So it kind of has like your general metrics up at the top, kind of some details about it, who the implementers are. Right now you're seeing Shannon here. She's one of my test users in the app in this dev environment. That entry right there that you see under town council, though, is actually representative of who the CPIC SME is that's assigned to that implementer. So that would all be available to anyone that is authenticated in the app. If you're not authenticated, you wouldn't see the CPIC SMEs, but you'd still see like who the implementers and stuff are. Yeah.
I believe Pat wanted to show this one because it's been completed. Can you show us how you might mark something as move that from a in progress to complete?
So I can't do that, but what would happen is somebody on the town council, right, would come in here, they'd find this strategy. There's a little button up here that says request completion. They'd click that button, sends out an alert. Steve would get a little email and whatever. You'd have a little notification over here that says town council so-and-so requested, to complete strategy X.
Can it be the implementer that sends that indicator? Or does
It can only be the implementer
So you said town council, so,
because they're the implementer.
oh, well, that's part of the problem that we're going to resolve because town council didn't implement that. So that's because we have five people listed under that strategy.
Do we?
Yeah,
It's
I think-
actually two, it's town manager and town council. And it was neither of those two who actually implemented that. So,
Tim, I think since last time at the last meeting, Pat took on the job of going through all the implementers and crossing out which ones shouldn't be on the list.
Perfect. Yeah. So we got a lot of cross-checking to do.
I don't want to change the plan. That's not the intention here. It's for us to improve what we're working with.
Absolutely.
What our implementers are working with.
So-
Unfortunately, installing new benches hadn't fallen under the town council or
Yeah,
the town
yeah,
manager.
absolutely. The
Yeah.
way I built this, so we can change the implementers and who is primary without any
Any problem at all?
problem. You'll have a problem if you're going to change the strategy content,
Can't change
or
that.
right, because I mean, you can, but it creates a draft version that goes through an amendment process that has to get approved. It's not like because everything is auditable in here.
So this is internal to us, internal with, and have no intention of changing content of strategies or and state
Well,
mandated.
I mean, there's nothing saying we get the plan right the first time. Like
Yeah.
things change. It's a living collection of those changes and how we as a community go and get things done.
Okay.
So
I just want to say I really love that you included change management in this project. I was curious, so is it the main implementer only that can request to close it, or can any of them? And I mean, either way, I see that as working, because if we get notified that someone has closed that, then we can verify with the main implementer and,
I think I went strict on that one to where only the lead implementer can request it. I will double check.
yeah.
And we can, we have flexibility to change this to suit however we're doing this.
Yeah, no,
So-
and like I said, I see that working either way, because, hopefully the main implementer would be the one in charge of the
They're at
project.
least in
anyhow.
charge of it on paper. Maybe they don't have
Yeah.
to be the one actually doing it, but they'd probably collect the feedback and be able to check the box.
Yep.
So
No, thank you for including that.
So we'll get that all corrected when we go through what I've done.
sure.
Okay.
Awesome.
I think, again, we can't control what Tim does or does not do on his own time, but I think we could demonstrate our support or not support for moving forward with a tool like this. And I think it would be helpful for us to show that support so that way we can begin maybe more formal conversations with the town manager or the town council to contemplate what it would look like for, really the development of a tool that I see as having, I see as having kind of really resounding positive impact. And actually, maybe before we have this conversation, since I don't want to assume, so I'm going to ask the question. This is everybody's kind of first comprehensive plan process? Yes,
What do you
no.
mean by that?
Working on a committee either to draft the comprehensive plan or to implement.
Oh, yes.
It's mine.
Dawn, you as a planner, have you worked on more than one comprehensive plan? I'm sorry, I'm asking Dawn Emerson, who's currently off camera, if this is the first, if she has worked on more than one comprehensive plan in her past. She's nodding affirmatively. Dawn, in your opinion, is there any guidance or about whether you think that this would be a valuable tool or would have supported previous implementation of previous plans? Dawn agrees that it would support it. Okay, so just a straw poll of whether we support Tim in moving forward and want to look to maybe formalize utilization of a tool like this. All in favor? All opposed?
Abstain.
All abstaining? Great, so it's just a straw poll that, again, we're not mandating how people spend their time outside of this.
Side note too, I would love to help you with this as far as testing and all of that.
Thanks, Tim. This is really great.
Good job.
Tim, would you put us back up on the screen? Thanks.
Why keep this up? What videos are?
It's a great question. I think we're good to go right now.
Leave it as is.
Leave it as it is. Okay. So right now, in February, we culminated 3 months of conversation about the housing chapter of the comprehensive plan. We have taken an approach where for each chapter, we are spending 3 months on each section of the plan, with the first month being a conversation about what priorities feel most important to the members of the Comprehensive Plan Implementation Committee. So there are five of us here this evening. I've asked everybody to come prepared to suggest 5 that they believe are the most important or most impactful. We will do a little bit of, you know, a chart board democracy and try and winnow from 25 potentially down to 5 tonight. At the second month, we've brought in subject matter experts to talk about what they see through their professional and personal experience as being the most impactful parts of the work they do. Last month, it was 2 housing developers. This month, it could really range broadly, depending on what are the 5 we end up with tonight. And then on the third month, we will reflect back on did what we think as committee members, did we hear what we think as committee members reflected back in what the subject matter expert shared? And should we amend any of the 5 we're targeting? Should we edit them? Should we narrow it down? Was there one that the subject matter experts felt like, if you do not do this, you will not have a viable local economy, or if you do this, it will be 15 times. So tonight we'll start with that process. The local economy chapter of the comprehensive plan really talks about how do you strengthen and, hey, how are you doing? Doing well. No, please go ahead. You're okay. You can feel free to join too. Okay. So the local economy section of the comprehensive plan reflects on what has been the history of the economy for Winthrop, what is the current status of the economy in Winthrop, and where are we going? We are a small rural community between 2 large cities for Maine. And really, I think in many ways, a mini service center for the much more rural communities to our out 41 towards Reedfield, Fayette, Mount Vernon, Vienna, Monmouth, Leeds, in many ways come here because we have a grocery store, medical providers. We have a growing downtown, buoyed by a couple of stores that have really taken off and won not only their local importance, but the regional importance. So this is really exciting, and I'm excited to hear what everybody brought to the table. Does anybody have anything they'd like to ground before we start the?
I just mentioned one thing, Steve, if we take 3 meetings for every section, that's going to be 2 years out before we get through the plan, right? So what's that going to do? Well, it's a 10-year plan. Never mind.
It's a point well taken, George, about if we're taking 2 years, every 2 years we're going through it. One, I think it gives us every 2 years to go through, which means by the end of 10 years, we've had the opportunity to visit each section 5 times. And maybe we change up the order. So it's not housing, local economy, another section, housing, local economy, same, and we do it in that order. Maybe there's some importance and urgency to address other ones. But I think it's a point worth us considering after we get through maybe the next section to see, does this cadence feel right? Or are we going a little too slow? And should maybe the third and second meetings be combined into 1 2-hour meeting in that second month?
And we're picking the most important ones to go through first. The highest priorities that we see for Winthrop, that helps. And I think that some will be able to do in a month or 2, as opposed to 3 months, or as Steve suggested, bundle them up together. That'll be shorter or easier to walk through.
And just so I'm clear, like, none of this precludes us from going and talking with the implementers we're assigned to and still staying on track of like short-term goals, right? Like that could all happen in addition to our focus area studies.
Yes. Sorry, recognizing that nodding doesn't translate to microphones. Yeah, I don't think that this process precludes us from having interest in what's going on, noting if there's a particularly large conversation at the council level or a policy level that's being brought up on this at the state level that will have impact locally. All sorts of reasons why we can add items to our agenda and address them one-off or on an ongoing basis. George,
Yes.
would you like to share the the strategies you identified?
I apologize. I didn't know we were going to have to do them. Somehow I lost track of the emails. And I went through them today, the recommendations, and I probably circled 20 of them. So I haven't winnowed them down, but I can get them to you tomorrow.
That's okay. I'm happy to start if that might be helpful to other committee members. Go. Yeah, go right ahead, Whitney.
Although I'm indecisive.
That's okay.
One.
You have 6? You can submit 6. George, will you give Whitney one of your 5 to submit so she has 6?
He agrees.
Yes, let me just find the
3 years.
Yeah.
Let's see, there were 7.2. We'll have to navigate it.
We'll just do numbers right now.
Oh, okay. And I'm not speaking into the microphone. I had
6.3. I'll give you 6.3 of you.
so 7.2, 7.3, 8.4, 3.1. Oh, 1 second, I have to find it. Sorry, I just lost the last two. Maybe I should have had you go first.
That's okay. Why don't you take a second and when you find it, you let us know.
Sure, yeah, it was the last two. I'll find 1 second.
George, I heard you say 6.3.
This is one I was giving Whitney, so she'd have 6.
Oh, no, she has 6.
Oh, all right. All right.
I found them. It was actually 6.1 and 6.2, but it was close.
A 4.1 for me,
4.2.
4.1. Uh, 5.2. $7.3. And 6.6.
I just want to recognize for anybody following along at home, if you don't have a copy of the comprehensive plan in front of you, these numbers are not necessarily helpful. You can find these in the strategy section, which begins on page 209 of the comprehensive plan. I think as we go along in our winnowing process, we will read out the full, so that we can have a good, robust conversation on what we're voting on, not just a number, because I don't have these committed to memory and I don't know what any of the ones I didn't choose are.
And 8.5 is my number 6.
Oh, is that benches?
Yeah.
Good. I love that one. We can mark that one right off.
Jack.
right.
George.
Tim, do you have yours?
Tim?
Yeah, I was 4.2 and 6.6.
Right. Pat, do you have yours or do you want to? Okay. So I
I
had,
just mentioned a point here, Steve.
sure.
There's some famous sociology on benches and waste baskets. And basically the sociology is, the key finding is by Harrison White, if you put benches along the sidewalk, people will sit on them. And if you put trash cans along the sidewalk, people will toss trash into them.
We like that. And as somebody who's used the benches that are downtown now, I can attest to being in line with supporting those findings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just kind of one more little piece of trivia. when they got ready to put the sidewalks in at Harvard, rather than put them down and let people find them, they looked for where the paths were already made and they laid the sidewalks over the paths that were already there. That was pretty, I thought that was pretty neat.
Those benches were introduced downtown. Didn't it change the downtown flavor instantly? I mean, did you feel something different about Winthrop when you saw them?
Yeah, I think they're nice, and it's the capacity, the ability to be able to sit down, stroll, have a sandwich outside, or stop shopping in between the shops is really nice. Do we have enough? It looks like we might have Joe waiting as well. Well, welcome, Joe. Welcome, Shannon.
And Tim,
So I have 5, unlike Tim.
Figured a lot of people would have other ideas.
So I have 1.1, 3.1, 4.4, 4.5, 4.6, and 7.2. You have yours, Pat, up there? You want me to write them down real quick?
Huh. Some of them I know are already being worked, so I don't know what to, you know.
Oh, yeah, I did 6 too.
Okay, let me not do any, and let me indicate that. Point.
Well, wait a sec. Hold up. We're Tim and Whitney are just working on making sure everybody can see our screen again. Don, do you have any familiarity or technical assistance you could offer us here? That this screen can be focused on us? Okay, great. Thank you, Don. So we now have all of the strategies that this group brought in, and it's 11. There's 19 strategies there. What I would like to now do is I'm going to just read them down, and we can do a straw poll. And if you think it's something that we should work on, raise your hand. And I know we are voting without the context of the ones that are coming, but keep that in mind. There's too many to keep in mind right now. And when you go home, if you change your mind, you can send an email letting me know that you feel really strongly, and we can have that conversation because we have plenty of time to do all of this. So I'm going to try and go in number order just so I can read through the plan cohesively. If I miss one, we'll make sure. I'll write down the vote. If, well, if you just
Yeah.
put the votes. 1-1, if appropriate, assign responsibility and provide financial support for economic development activities to the proper entity, e.g. a local economic development committee, a local representative to a regional economic development organization, the community's economic development director, a regional economic development initiative, or other. Anybody who thinks we should explore this further or recommend as a strategy to the town council, raise your hand. You don't-
No, I'm saying it's good, but,
you don't have to defend your, just,
One vote.
we got one vote for the one we supported. Next one is 3-1, participate in any regional economic development planning efforts.
One, two.
Great, 3 votes. Then can you? Thank you. Reintroduce a weekly farmers market in the downtown area.
That is being worked. Be the Grange with assistance from the town plan. The downtown committee will support this. As a
That is for this group. I am not voting on it because it's currently being worked. In my perspective, it's already being worked.
You should definitely add comments.
And that doesn't mean that this group needs to agree with my thinking, because you might feel this is so important that we need to keep this and elevate it when the chance to earn today's work. That doesn't mean, well, if we tried, we're done. So don't let that's just my thinking. I want to.
It can hit roadblocks, and it may need more support from all the committees that should support it. So while I agree with Steve, let's not put it on our 5 priorities. Well, it's a priority for us. Let's keep it in our minds. So we'll put it in another bucket for us, because it's a tough to get it implemented back here in Winthrop. There's a lot of hurdles that we're going to have to go. That said, I'm not voting for it either. Anybody else want to raise their hand?
I do like it. I'm wondering, well, I don't have the full plan right in front of me, but if we might be able to identify the implementer and maybe shoot them an email. I mean, if they're not, I'm sure they're aware that the Grange is working on it, but possibly signal our support to the Grange.
Town manager, town council.
I think the right people know that it's being worked.
That's a fair point.
So I think what I would like to just offer is, I wanted to explain why I didn't vote for it, and that's okay. If this is a priority for this group, that's, we can, please, amplify that. For me, it's something that's being worked, something I think is going ahead. If we want to say, if we come to it at the end of the 5 and we say, this isn't, we've learned more, maybe somebody leaves this meeting and says, I'd like to learn how stable the efforts are. It's fine. So let's do a quick straw poll again. All in favor of adding this to our top 5 priorities for the end of the night? Yeah.
I haven't lived anywhere that was this rural before, that didn't have a farmer's market. Especially when there's really great food here.
Yeah, I'd like to make sure everybody's aware that my not voting for a priority does not signal my lack of enjoyment of a good farmer's market.
Steve.
Great news is it's being worked.
Yeah.
So that is, and let's make sure it happens. Okay? 4-2 is our next.
Or 2, explore ways to encourage Main Street business owners in both commercial and retail locations to focus on and improve curb appeal.
all good.
They are. 4.4, maintain sidewalks throughout town to encourage walkability, which in turn would promote business. I can't confirm that, like, the sidewalks would promote more business, but I can be reasonably confident that would.
And correct me if I'm wrong, was there ever a point in time where we had applied for any kind of grant or some kind of state DOT thing that was supposed to? Yeah, I just didn't, did that ever lead to anything? I mean, those projects take a long time to actually.
I don't think we were, I am not, Dawn, please fact check me here. I believe we applied and we may not have been awarded previously, or have we been contemplating applying sidewalk grants? Okay. Okay, so we had applied, we were not successful, other highly competitive, so, but it sounds like it's on the radar, so maybe this is something, like I said previously, it's on the radar, maybe we don't elevate it.
Do we have an,
Two things. I think it is automatically on, so when you press the button, then it's off.
oh, all right, good.
And two, I don't think we delve into standards of what a walkable sidewalk is, but I would imagine there would be conversations about what that means from a engineering standpoint, but also what it means from I would hope it would involve what it means from, like, what you talked about, driving the behavior you want to see. Like, do you need a wide walkway in front of storefronts? So that way you can have a lot of capacity or whatnot.
Steve said is great, and I think when that is addressed, the designs are put before the appropriate people, and not only are they beautifying the town, they're also ADA compliant and a lot of other things. Signs. 4.5.
Consider creating an economic development plan that recognizes gaps, evaluates the downtown area, works to fill vacant storefronts, and supports all existing businesses, including home businesses. I like your consistency. Encourage Winthrop Lakes Region Chamber of Commerce in creating a regional 5 to 10 year marketing plan. Two. Consider developing a site plan review ordinance to give the planning board more oversight. Consider developing a site plan review ordinance to give the planning board more oversight.
With regards, I mean, yeah. What kind of site plan?
Yeah.
This is just, I don't grasp.
Site plan review is a technical type of review that's defined by statute, and this would, I assume, given the purview of it being in local economy, how do we expand commercial development or have greater review of commercial development activities, commercial and retail development activities?
Votes?
We'll give Tim the opportunity to come back and amend his vote.
Yeah.
Wait, can you put support and promote programs to engage middle school and high school students in participating in Main Street cleanup maintenance? Support and promote programs in which students assist elderly living along Main Street in private property maintenance. Promote and encourage Main Street activities such as the Memorial Day Parade. Is that 4? Okay. Okay. Explore tools to help existing businesses stay in Winthrop. Raise my hand for that, although like I would want like a lot more clarity around that. If we're going to make a recommendation, like what does that mean and and why is it? It is obviously very important to keep businesses in Winthrop. What is the thought process around meaningfully and intentionally doing that in a way that is equitable, so that if a business is truly growing out and then they want to become the new soil deposit for oil soaked stains, is that necessarily something we want to encourage or not? I think that just would like to learn more. I want to make sure that consider traffic calming measures such as narrowing, deflecting, or restricting traffic in areas known to be unsafe for pedestrians.
So when writing the plan, uh, we spoke with, at the point in time, the police chief, and they had done studies of speed on Main Street. And it's not really an issue, according to the police chief. Surprisingly, it's not really an issue. However, I just voted for that because we've had too many close calls. So calming devices and U-turns and things that are crazy that cause accidents, not necessarily endanger pedestrians, are a good thing. So I just wanted you folks to know that speed isn't an issue.
And for me, I guess it's not so much known to be unsafe for pedestrians. For me, when I think of traffic calming features, I think about how do we make our downtown how do we make the downtown village area really walkable?
Yeah.
And feel like people want to be there. And it is great that it is a throughway and people can get there quickly and access it easily. But does it always feel like an area where you want to stay walking and going back from one? Do you want to go from Freckles to Pickles, then back to Subway? Or right now it really like you have to go in a somewhat prescribed manner because of the road? So how do we make the design more attractive to people than it is to cars? So that's, I guess maybe it's not necessarily for me an unsafe factor, but more back to that big picture, local economy, spur and support downtown small businesses. Investigate ways to enhance existing crosswalks, such as improving signage or repainting. Yeah, love it.
Part
Only
of
because
that,
I've almost driven through every crosswalk on Main Street just this winter because it's like existent and the second salt is
Yeah,
there. It's-
You can't see the crosswalks now. They have to be, I think they're repainted literally every 12 months. And I'm not kidding. They are repainted frequently. The winter takes, you can't see them. They're gone right now. They're literally gone from snow and salt and all that.
Yeah.
So,
And the second, there's parked cars nearby.
yeah, and
A couple of surprised people like step out. It's like,
they get scraped off in the winter. So literally, there is no crosswalk down at the end of the Main Street by Freckle. Nothing.
We've got one more to get through and then oh, sorry, go.
oh, sorry, I just, as a part of that one, and I'm not sure if this speaks specifically to downtown, but I think one nice area to include a crosswalk would be from the high school across the road. I know that there's one further down, but providing that access to cross the road right by the high school would be something that might be worth considering.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back to
7 point.
8 fours. Support future economic growth compatible with the environment and landscape of the village area by improving public access sidewalks, update infrastructure, bury utilities, and promote connected parking lots to improve walkability.
Side note on that one, I kind of feel like it wraps several of those earlier ones we discussed into kind of one, is how I see it.
So there's a lot of interdependence to a lot of them, but each has its own distinct approach to the same topic area, so to speak. So, yeah, like ADA compliance and beautification will come hand in hand if I redo the sidewalks. Walkability will be part of redoing the sidewalks. So it's there, but you got to say them all separately or nothing. Yeah. So, and some of it's state content. Trust me. I won't say which ones, but I can tell you. That might be one.
Really nicely, we have 3 that have more votes than 4. I'm going to read them out loud again. 4 is maintain sidewalks throughout the town to encourage walkability, which in turn would promote more business. And then 4-5 had 4 votes, which was consider creating an economic development plan that recognizes gaps, evaluates the downtown area, works to fill vacant storefronts, and supports all existing businesses, including home businesses. 6.3 also had 4, which was promote and encourage Main Street activities such as Memorial Day Parade. That's wonderful. Now we have several with 3. I'm gonna, so we have 4-2, 6-2, 3-1, 4-5, 4-2, 6-6, 3-1, 4-1, 7-2, 7-3, 8-4, 6-2. Quite a few here. We are scheduled to go until 6:30. It is 6:29. That is a little bit. Do we want to commit 7 minutes of focused work to add to? Or would you like me to synthesize this into an email so you can look at them? At our next meeting, we can invite individual subject matter experts in based on 4, 5, and 6-3. Everybody can be prepared to review and we can have a conversation and potentially add 2 more.
You want a motion?
No, we
Okay.
That, number 2.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
go.
I'm gonna write, well.
And
next-
also, can we come back for those of us who did not work on this task? I'd like an opportunity. Look at it all over again.
So for the next meeting, when you get home, I felt really fortunate. The last section was housing. I knew some people who were deeply connected to the world, who are working in the community adjacent to that could help us. Get home if you know somebody who is working in sidewalks or walkability, economic development plans, or main streets, actually. Any suggestions? Or so? Next meeting is scheduled for April 9th. If we're inviting outside partners or presenters to come in, sometimes their schedules don't allow for the same evening that we have. I would just note that I might ask if other people, if there's some other dates that you might be available, and maybe try and stick to a Thursday as well, maybe move it to the following Thursday or the Thursday before. I'll try and limit it to those parameters, since Thursdays seem to work for most of us.
One suggestion is Kevin Doyle to speak to us about walkability, sidewalk, and crosswalks. He has a lot of knowledge.
Kevin Doyle is our Director
Public Works
of
Director.
Public Works, so nice, wonderful asset. We're right within our community. Thanks so much, everybody. That was a great conversation. Now we'll move to other business. We actually have members from the public, so there might actually be public comment. Other than that, I wasn't using the microphone. So I'll open the floor for any public comment. You can be the public tonight, Don.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to come sit at the table so everybody else can hear you?
Yep,
Uh,
the world can.
You can introduce yourself and in whatever capacity you'd like to, Don.
And while Dawn's coming up to the table, I want to share with the committee, make sure they know, we got our letter to Anthony, and we did not make this coming Monday night's agenda. It's jam-packed. So we will be on the first April town council meeting. I think.
We'll be on a future town
Future
council
town
meeting.
council.
It's budget season.
Yeah.
So want to be deferential to our recommendations versus the council's responsibility to get a budget in front of voters.
Thanks.
Hey, Dawn Emerson, town planner extraordinaire.
About that, but I am your town planner. And so you talked about this tracking software, or I'm not sure what you're calling it.
Tool.
Cool, thank you. And I noticed that, actually I can pull it up on my phone too. So on the left-hand side, there's, thank you, where it says plans.
Yes.
Would you all consider your decision-making process? There are a number of plans that aren't really accounted for. They're mentioned in the comprehensive plan, but they have their own set of goals and objectives and strategies. So for instance, the downtown revitalization plan, they have a whole table. Whereas, this plan might call some of them out, but it also just references it as well. Norcross Point and Public Beach redevelopment plan, there's action items in there, one of which is to assign someone to be a champion for that plan. They actually call it a champion in the plan. One of the actionable things is to establish a champion who would then, pursue moving forward, that the plan gets implemented. Because do you all know we have this plan? Because I didn't know until I was here for quite a while about some of these. So one of the things I love about this tool is that it's the comprehensive plan. But my question for you is, can we bring in some of these other plans? Like we have the bike and ped plan, and when you're talking about sidewalks and crosswalks,
And they're all,
there is a plan that it's identified in
they're
there,
all referenced here for update.
each one.
Yep.
So I would suggest that if there's a way to, besides being referenced in the comprehensive plan, could you list the plan and show the plan?
I think that is really a developer question and not a comprehensive plan implementation committee question.
I guess just, is it even something you think is appropriate? Well, I guess before,
I was gonna say we need to put a little money in Tim's pocket if we're gonna,
I think, Don, I think if your question is like, would it be helpful? George, have a great evening. Thank you. If your question is like, would it be helpful to see all the different interrelated tools that are interconnected for planning purposes for a municipality? I think the answer is yes. That is always helpful to understand the full scope of planning so that things are de-siloed and happening together. The question about whether it belongs in here or not, I think again I'll defer to the developer. Like, I think that is strictly a developer role, and may be helpful for Tim as he thinks about his tool, but maybe you guys can take that question offline.
and then the other thing, I don't have an answer to this, but I want to just raise it, because I've been observing it for a long time. We have these great plans. Winthrop has done a lot of planning, a lot of volunteer time, consultants, and there's a lot of pieces of those plans that involve funding. Since I've been here, people continue to talk about they want sidewalk improvements. they want night walkability downtown. Some of these things, you know, they cost money, there are grants available, hopefully they're identified in some of these plans. But I would suggest that all of those pieces should be culled out and put into a capital improvements plan. And the council will be reviewing one at a coming up meeting. However, it doesn't include all these elements. So if it's not flagged, they're not going to happen, right? So, and I know Anthony, I talked to him about this, and he was concerned about proposing anything that would, you know, potentially increase taxes, and the council's concerned about that. And 100%, I understand that. But there should be at least a ranked wish list.
Yeah.
Because the budget reflects the values of the community, and everyone says they want walkability to town, they want better sidewalks, you know, safer infrastructure in general. So I don't know if it's this committee who would be the one to call that and make that and present it to the council, but I think moving forward, those things should be identified and they should be put into the into the capital improvement.
Yeah. I don't disagree that if a municipality and its citizens have identified something as a priority, that those should not be included and given a number amount, an identified number amount to figure out what the actual costs are so that decisions can be fact-based. I am not sure it is the role of the Comprehensive Plan Implementation Committee to say anything other than potentially, here are the items that are identified in the comprehensive plan that could be included in your capital improvements plan. I don't think it's necessarily our role to craft the capital improvements plan. Acronyms are running in my head, and I've been in meetings recently where it's just the CIP, and I try not to speak in acronym, and it's very close to CPIC, where I don't think it's our role to say these should be included or even to be scoping the cost, but it could be a responsibility. It could be a role we undertake to say, here are the items that were identified by the community and voted by the townspeople that could belong in a capital improvements plan. I guess a couple of things I'd want to work deeper to understand are what is the statutory definition of that's a statutorily defined document, what is included, and what should we identify?
And it is different from a capital investment plan, which is also referenced in comprehensive plan. So, yeah. But I don't think that Dawn's recommendation is a bad one, that we start earmarking things like that are important that should ultimately end up in a wish list somewhere. And I agree with Steve, it really isn't
Yeah,
the role we have.
I don't know who plays that role, but I feel like it needs to be.
It's a
filled.
gap,
It's a big gap.
big gap.
Big gap, because you have plans that go back 20 years identifying the same things, but then they never make it into the discussion. Sorry.
Oh, Shannon, sorry we missed your earlier comment that we applied but didn't get the grant. I believe that was in reference to the sidewalks.
Yes, that was.
I'm never in charge of the computer in Zoom meeting again.
Thank you,
Lost my
Shannon. Thanks for
privilege.
beaming in. Tim, you have done a wonderful job on IT and demonstrated significant skills and adaptability and adeptness. So I think that chair suits you going forward. Shannon, Joe, you would love to open the floor for you to talk if you have any public comment about the comprehensive plan or this evening's meeting. Hearing none.
Thank you.
Hey, buddy.
Hearing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Meeting.
Second by Tim, all in favor? All opposed? Thank you so much, everybody. It was wonderful to see you all.